Okay guys, Church, welcome back. Okay guys, just something, I want to go over something. There's a lot been happening in Channel Lock and a lot of new development stuff that I'm involved in. A lot. I'll get a bit closer to the camera, you don't have to see the ball. There's a lot happening and a lot of things that I've been doing. But as I said the other day in the announcement that I made, you guys don't have to do the stuff I'm doing. I would suggest you just stick to basic channel lock until you're proficient with it. And of course, so what we should highlight now is what basic channel lock is today, where it's evolved to today. Okay. Now, the basic tenets are still fundamentally the same. We play the ball off our trail foot, here, with a variance of probably the width of your foot. You can do that. Some might even want to play it a little bit further back than that. Depends on how you're built, how wide your shoulders are, whatever. So we've established that. The ball is off that trail foot. We want to load onto the trail axis here. We want to load into this trail side here. Why do we want to do that? So we can take the club back in this imaginary channel here, beside the body. Just makes it easy to do that. To swing it in that channel there, if you're loaded already onto the side where the channel is. So we load into our trail side, we unload our lead side. This is pure channel. The club in swinging in that channel is basically scribing the path that we want on the downswing, which is beside our body, not in front of it over here. We want to swing the club as an imaginary thing on this side of our body. Clearly we don't swing it there, but we want to feel like we swing it there. It's beside our body, it's not in front of our body, as it would be with a conventional golf swing. We're swinging in front of our body. This is the body, that's the front of the body. The forward ball position makes you do that. But with channel lock, the ball's basically back here and the club's tracking from beside the body. So that's one of the basic tenets, the fundamental tenets. Now once we've set up, basically, in channel lock, we've loaded trail, we turn our hips, we turn our shoulders, which is called pre-turning or pre-setting, so that we can mimic our impact position. Our impact position must be closed. We have to have our shoulders closed at impact so we can track the club into out every time. And the whole idea of that, guys, is that the ball will always start in the same direction because the club is coming into out. So it'll always start the ball, if you're right-hander, away from the target line. How much it starts away from the target line depends on how severe you are with the closure of your shoulders. And how much it starts away before it comes back depends on how much face closure you have on the club when you hit it. The club goes into out across the target line for a right-hander to the right of the target line. We fire it out there, outwards, but the club face releases towards the target. We fire the general club out there, but we rotate and release the club face towards the target. Now how much shutdown you have on that face when you hit the ball and how much rotation you have on the ball when you hit it will create the amount of movement you get on that ball, how much draw you'll get coming back. Or conversely, if you don't have the face shut when you hit it, you'll just get a little push, straight push. Some people like to play with it. Part of the base geometry of the golf swing. It's an into-out golf swing across the target line. It's done that way so we can start the ball every time in one direction. By doing that, we eliminate the ball going left for a right-handed player. We eliminate the drag and the pull, because you cannot drag or pull a golf ball when the club is tracking from into out with closed shoulders. It's impossible to pull the ball from that body configuration. You just can't do that. And that's why we're set up anatomically and geometrically that way. So these are the base tenets and the base premises of channel lock. That's why it's designed, guys, to get rid of the ball going left to left for a right-handed player, or just eliminate for any player pulls or drags, which you normally get with a forward ball position. And the good thing about channel lock, guys, is our ball position is known. It's within that small area of the foot. I try and play it about my second or third toe on my trail foot. So that's my indicator. So I know it's within that fine tolerance every time. But if you play the ball up front in a conventional golf swing, you don't know where it is. And consequently, you don't know where your weight is being loaded from shot to shot, day to day. But with channel lock, you know where it is. If the ball's back here, you've got to load your weight back here. That dictates the weight loading. Okay, now that's the setup. Now the actual swing, when we set in here, we want to get into our knees, guys. We want to get into our knees and stay in our knees. Why? Because if our knees are bent, our hips won't open. It's only when that knee starts to straighten, or this one starts to drive, the trail hip will fire out, or the lead hip will come off the line. So we want to eliminate that, so we keep our knees bent at impact. That's how you eliminate the hip girdle from turning. And if the hip girdle turns, it takes the torso and then ultimately takes the shoulder girdle. So that's the whole idea, guys. That we want to keep the legs bent at impact, and that corrals the hips, corrals the torso and corrals the shoulders, and corrals the path, direction of the golf club. And you want to stay in that position as long as you can physically when you hit the golf ball. You want to try and feel a bit of what I call hunker down. Try and feel that. The more you can hunker down, guys, keep those legs bent, stay in that configuration there, the straighter you'll be. No question about that. So that's the basics of channel lock. And how you set it up individually is up to you. You can have that little variance of ball position, but you can't have the ball further forward than the trail foot, because that just takes the opportunity of swinging the club in the channel, guys. You bring it up, that's our channel there, and we're coming in from here. If we bring it up there, we're going to miss the ball, unless we make some crazy compensation by trying to get the trail shoulder out, the hand out and the club out, which is drag city. That's just over the top pull. So you don't do that. So it's all about back foot ball position, trail side loading, keeping the legs bent, keeping the shoulders closed, firing the club into out, and releasing the face of the golf club towards the target. We never ever want to swing the club intentionally towards the target as a direction. The direction is across the target line. The only thing that goes towards the target is the club face. We fire the club face towards the target. So it's this. Hands, arms and club are going out there, club face is going over here. So it's that type of release. The toe goes down and releases like that. That's what it is. So that's elementary, basic, fundamental channel lock. You don't need to do any more than that. A lot of the stuff that I'm doing now, with the drop, flip, is, I mean, they're specialty additions to the basic base tenets and principles of channel lock. They are additions, you know, specialty additions. You can step up to that, guys, and build up to that going forward. But as we said the other day, in terms of grading, stay in your white belt, become proficient in your white belt before you move to your yellow belt and your green belt in terms of a grading. Because you'll never be proficient at those other levels unless you progressively increase your capability and your efficiency to swing the golf club. So the base principles of channel lock haven't changed. They haven't changed. There's a lot of things been happening with me. A lot of the things I'm doing. I'm doing all sorts of things, gripping down and doing all sorts of things and throwing the club and trying to get my hands really close to my body. But you don't have to do any of that. You can just play like this. You can just do channel lock, beginner grade, white belt channel lock. And this is all white belt channel lock is. The ball's there. We come in, we position her off the trail foot. Here. We bring the lead foot up for balance only. We load into the trail side. We cock the head and the shoulders to the right. We take the club in the channel. And we just hit into out. That's as simple as it is. It doesn't get any simpler than that. That's channel. Trail foot, set up in the trail axis, cock the shoulders over here, get the legs bent, and stay in the legs when you hit it. And try and keep the nose over here, the 5 o'clock nose, guys. Big clock face facing you, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Try and keep your nose pointed there when you hit it. And release that golf club out that way. Don't try and fire it down the target line. Because from a back ball position, if you try and fire it down the target line, as a deliberate action, you'll get over the ball, I promise you. You've got to have the feeling the club is coming in or out, but the club face is releasing towards the target. So guys, that's the basic fundamental channel lock. Apply that, learn that, and be comfortable with that, and then you can then go and look at some of those other videos that I've done in the last month where we've got a lot of new things happening. But become proficient at white belt level before you get on to any of the specialty type applications. And this is as simple as it is. Set it up, trail foot, load into the trail side. And stay here. Hips are still here, they're not here. Shoulders are still here, they're not here. Okay, you can get a little bit of shoulder rotation after you hit it. You can't get that shoulder rotation at impact. Okay guys, I just want to clear that up. So basic fundamental channel lock is basically what I've explained here. And we should have maybe have done that and sort of got across to people that they don't need to be going off trying all this new stuff. Just become proficient with basic channel lock. I guess the analogy would be, guys, when you're wanting to drive a car, just go and get a license first. Get a beginner's license, learn to drive the car, and just get a little Toyota Corolla or something, learn to drive it, become proficient at driving a little Toyota Corolla for a while, get the feeling of what you have to do to drive a car before you step up to a Shelby Mustang or something like that. You wouldn't want to go out, get your license, hop into a Shelby Mustang, guys, and try and drive that, or a McLaren, or whatever, because you'd kill yourself. So, and here guys, this will kill your enthusiasm if you try and get up to that upper level of channel lock before you're proficient in the lower levels. That's just the point I wanted to make. I should have said that some time ago. So guys, just tone it down, work with basic channel lock and stay at that level until you become really confident and think, well, I can go somewhere else now. Then you can start looking at those other videos.